17 on it. With that, I'd ask the clerk to please take the roll. I see I have a few supervisors who need to sign in yet.
My iPad closed, so I have to wait.
Okay. It's just in front of me.
I can't get my door.
Well, we can see you're here, so we'll mark you present while we work on that, because you're the first person who gets to come up here today. So.
Well, I was going to say, can I pray without being present?
Call on Supervisor Rosar to please come forward for the invocation. I'd ask the body to please rise for the invocation and then remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Am I on? Yes. Okay. So if you so desire, would you join me as I pray? Father God, thank you for this day, for the sunshine, the opportunity to live another day, and for your many blessings. Help us to be forever grateful to you, from whom all blessings flow. We pray for those in our communities who are struggling physically, financially, mentally, and spiritually. Help us to be the hands and feet to meet those needs. We pray for government leaders at all levels, seeking wisdom, strength of character, and safety. Thank you for the men and women serving in our military, as well as for their families who serve at home. Thank you for the opportunity we have today to serve the residents of Wood County. We do not take that responsibility lightly. Thank you for Peter Manley, whose years of service were celebrated yesterday and whose retirement we recognize today. Grant him good health, peace, rest, and joy with every future success. May he be blessed because he's been a blessing to so many over the years. We ask all these things in the precious name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Please join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and thank you, Supervisor Rosar. At this point in time, we've got the minutes from the previous meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion by Hampton, a second by Fire. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor of approval, please signify by aye. Aye. And opposed, and that motion carries. First part's going to go pretty quick. Excusals, none. Resignations, none. Appointments or reappointments, none. Public comment. Do we have any public comment today? Does anyone here from the public who would like to speak? Please approach the microphone. Doesn't look like we have any public comment today. Acknowledgements and recognitions, and we started that during today's invocation. I assume Supervisor Henkel is going to handle this today. I will say this, as Hildy, as you work your way forward, or is Jason going to handle? I'm not sure who's handling this, and Peter, but I made the comment again yesterday for the umpteenth time at Peter's retirement get-together, but all of us in our lives have met somebody or know somebody or regularly see somebody who thinks they know everything about everything. I actually do know somebody who knows everything about everything, and it's Peter Manley, and we are going to miss him. So whether Hildy or Jason, whoever has the floor, go ahead.
Good morning. When I was driving in this morning, I was thinking about the years that Peter has served here for Wood County. And despite the fact that each one of us is elected officials and we've been out there in the public, the face of Wood County generally is extension, and it's very frequently Peter Manley, and it has been for 34 years. He's been out there at the fair, he's been at the Towns Association meetings, he's been on television, he's been on the radio, he's been the face of Wood County. It's going to be very strange without him here, and we are very grateful he's been here for 34 years. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for the time this morning. I have the privilege and honor to help recognize Peter Manley and his retirement. I started here in Wood County and with the Wood County staff just at the middle part of 2017. And from day one, Peter embraced me as part of the team. brought me in and said, you know what, I'm going to teach you everything that I can teach you in 6 months before I retire. And by golly, it's pretty close. It's pretty close because of his dedication, not only to me and the investment of me as a young professional, but to the office staff and all the things that they do in cooperation with Peter. So I've not known Peter before 2017, but I can say I'm a better person and a better professional by being associated with Peter Manley and his experience in cooperative extension and just in Wood County. So I want to read the statement that I read yesterday at his retirement party, and it speaks volumes. So for those that have heard it, I apologize, but it does speak, for those that haven't heard it, to his a testament to Peter's integration, as Hildy mentioned, as an integral part of cooperative extension here in Wood County. So Peter, we recognize you for your commitment to the residents of Wood County through local government education, organization and economic development, and natural resources initiatives. We remember you for your overwhelming enthusiasm and support for your fellow colleagues, especially new colleagues, through mentorship and skill development. Your colleagues, clients, and friends respect your knowledge, vision, and ability to stay calm during trying times and providing opportunities for constructive interactions. Also, your ability to foster relationships in Wood County, maximizing your programmatic reach, has proven instrumental to the vitality of the Wood County community. We salute you for your commitment and positive difference you made in the lives of so many people. We thank you for your contributions to Cooperative Extension's vision of becoming a thriving, well-known, and settled educational resource that reflects the rich diversity of this state. And I can tell you that Wood County is a better place because of this man. So congratulations, Peter, and well wishes on your future endeavors. Thank you.
So this is short. So 34 years is a long time. In fact, I remember the first computer in our extension office. We all shared one computer, and we were warned that we could not drink coffee or smoke next to it. Now County Board runs on tablets. 34 years has gone by very fast for me, mostly because of the people I get to work with. I've worked with lots of elected officials, county, city, village, town. I've worked with department heads and county employees, citizen groups, and passionate people on both sides of issues, things like school closures and packing plants, Ho-Chunk and Hmong groups, farmers, woodlot owners, hunters, gardeners, businesses, kids, the list goes on. But I've also had the support of extension specialists and a great staff in the extension office. But as you elected officials know, we can all be replaced, and that is usually a good thing. I would just ask that you give my successor a couple months before you ask all the really hard questions and give him or her the really hard issues, but don't wait too much longer. So thank you for your support of Extension, and thank you for all of the interesting challenges that have made 34 years go by in a flash.
Again, congratulations on behalf of all of us, Peter. We're going to miss you. I know you won't be out of the community except for maybe the winter here where you're going somewhere warm, I understand. Today we are dealing right out of the box with higher education in Wood County. And we have a couple of guests with us this morning. Many of you have asked the questions of what is the realignment with UW Extension? How's that going to work with the UW colleges? How's that going to work with the university system? And so today we've invited in Dr. Bernie Patterson. Dr. Patterson is the chancellor at UW Stevens Point, and with him today is Dr. Rob Mansky, who is the chief of staff and the legislative liaison for the office of the chancellor. So, and I will say this, Dr. Patterson is pretty informal. When I first met him, it's like Bernie's on the phone, and usually it is always doctor. Adjust himself that way, but he has integrated himself into our community, ingratiated himself to everyone. And Dr. Patterson, Bernie, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, and everybody calls me Bernie. Well, sometimes they call me something else, but we won't talk about that. Well, thank you for this opportunity to check in with this group. because at Point, we see this as a partnership between the county, and in this case, the city over in Marshville and the university in Stevens Point. Let me begin by mentioning just a couple things that I often get asked about, and that is, how is it going to work going forward? The colleges in our state have served a very, very important purpose, and that is being a portal for students who otherwise might not be admissible to the universities. Gives them a chance to get started, gives them a chance to go and to prove themselves. And this state cannot be without that. So that will always be there. That will always be a part of the mission of the college, two-year college campuses. The other thing that sometimes we're asked about is affordability. The differential tuition between Point and the two-year colleges is about $1,000 a semester. So that's a significant amount of money. So we anticipate keeping the prices the same for the courses that are currently being offered. Now, when we bring new programs, four-year programs, or even graduate programs, I'll talk about in a minute, to those two-year campuses, then of course the pricing would be the same as it is at Point. But for that access, for that general education courses, as we might refer to it, we're committed to maintaining that price, at least in the short term, to make it as affordable as possible. So those are the kind of the official responses to those questions. But let me share with you my personal point of view about these campuses. As a young high school graduate, and I worked my way through high school, my parents, the great parents that they were, didn't go to high school. So my sister and I were the first in our families to graduate from high school. And I worked my way through high school at a McDonald's. And I paid for my first tuition bill with my check from McDonald's. It was $60. And to me, that was a lot of money. And, you know, I worked so much in high school, I wasn't the best prepared student. But I was lucky to go to a campus very much like the one in Marshville. It was a two-year, we called them junior colleges back then. And it was a city, it was operated by the city. And by golly, they let me in. And I was happy to be there. So if it hadn't been for getting a start at a campus just about identical to the one over in Marshville, except the facilities were not nearly as nice as they have in Marshville. It was an old grade school. But I understand from my own personal experience what those campuses can mean to men and women in the community. We see, though, the partnership between Stevens Point and Wood County and Marshville and Wausau as being what Lee Sherman Dreyfus used to refer to as the ruralplex. And we think that's an idea worth revisiting. We see this as a partnership with this particular county board, because you play an important role in how all this works. This may be a unique arrangement in this country. I don't know. But we want to get to know each other better, and I hope that you'll grant us time to come back from every now and then and to give you an update. As far as the future is concerned, there's plenty of things we do not know yet, and we just received budget information just a couple of weeks ago, and it's very, very tentative, but we were told to use it for planning purposes, not to write any checks on it. But we envision expanding programs on both campuses, both in Marshville and in Wausau. You may know that the enrollment is down in Marshville by 47%, and the enrollment is down in Wausau by 51%. And we've had a significant drop in enrollment at Point as well. A big piece of this is that there are fewer students in high school. Just fewer students in high school, therefore fewer students going to school. That's the problem for higher education right now, and this will be a major problem for employers in the very near future. But the other reason it's down in Point is we've had a huge success in increasing how fast students graduate, primarily because of some very good work our faculty did about re-engineering the curriculum. So our 4-year graduation rate has gone up 12 percentage points in just the last 3 years. That means less student debt. That means they're getting out and going to work faster. They're presenting to themselves to employers sooner. And most importantly, they're getting out of mom and dad's basement sooner. So this is all good news, except we have fewer seniors and fewer juniors and fewer sophomores going to school because they're not taking that extra 1 semester or 2 semesters or 3 semesters to graduate. So enrollment is down at a point as well, which makes a significant financial challenge as well. But we think this is a huge opportunity to bring forward graduate programs and 4-year programs to the 2-year campuses, particularly in Marshfield as it relates to the sciences. If you take STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and you combine that with allied health, and you roll those together, UW-Stevens Point produces more undergraduate degrees in those areas than any other comprehensive university in the state. That's not count Milwaukee and Madison because they're 10 times bigger. But of all the other comprehensives, we produce more degrees in those areas than anyone else. In the fall, we'll open a new $75 million science building on the campus. Now you couple that with the new STEM building in Marshfield, and boy, that's a recipe for success if I ever saw it. So we envision particularly advancing science programs and allied health in Marshfield that will make a significant difference in our communities or in central Wisconsin. So we're thinking about this in 5 years from now as being a total integration of UW-Stevens Point coming to Wood County and going to Marathon County, and that we begin to think about this as a central Wisconsin endeavor, because as these communities become stronger in all sorts of ways, it just works better for everybody involved. Standard of living goes up, education level goes up. We're in a much better position to attract employers to central Wisconsin, which is going to become more and more important. Let me conclude at this point, and is there time for a question or two?
Absolutely, yeah, we'll open the floor to questions. I guess we'll use Bernie. Bernie's looking for questions. Anybody have any questions out there? Anybody? None of our board members? Supervisor Curry.
We talked a little bit before the meeting. Did you talk about with the declining enrollment in all the colleges? That isn't in Madison, is it? Is Madison also declining?
Well, what I was talking about the 2-year campuses here and in Wausau and in Point and in some of the other campuses around the state. Not every campus around the state is declining. Some of them are kind of holding their own. Others are down. I think Oshkosh is down. I think Superior's up slightly. But it has a lot to do with the demographics in that particular area of the state.
And what do you see for the future on different state colleges if this trend continues?
That is an excellent point. We have about 7 years to reinvent what we're doing in higher education, particularly in central Wisconsin. Because in 7 years, there's another cliff of high school graduates declining across the entire state of Wisconsin. That's the demographics of our state. And of all the social sciences out there, demography is probably the one that's the most accurate, because it's pretty easy to count noses in kindergarten and understand how many students you're going to have in high school 12 years later. And so we know already that in 7 years there's going to be another steep decline in high school graduates. So we've got about a 7-year period to figure this out together. And we're in it all the way to make sure that central Wisconsin remains vibrant. Well, our strategic plan kind of says it all. We're a partnership for vibrant communities. Sustainable communities, healthy communities, and prosperous communities. The 4 pillars of our strategic plan. And if we live that plan, we'll be okay.
Maybe you want to talk, I was surprised about, I knew the funding that went down, state funding, if you want to talk about how that's changed, let's say, from the 60s to
Yes.
today.
when you and I were in college, state funding was about 50% of the budget. It was at Stevens Point, about 50, a little more than 50% of the budget. Today, at Point, the state support makes up 13% of our total budget. That is the big explanation as to why tuition has gone up so much over the last 15 or 20 years. And this, not to point fingers at any particular party, because it's been a bipartisan effort here over the last 20 years.
Any other questions? Do we have any other questions? If not, I certainly appreciate your attendance here today. I encourage our board members, if they ever have any questions, I know that the Chancellor's always been open to conversation, to engaging as such, and I want to thank you for coming today and joining us. Thank you.
Please give me a call.
All right, we get into the packet today. Referrals? None. All right, page 11 of your packet, the minutes of the Tuesday, January 2nd minutes of the Executive Committee, just beginning on page 11, and 12, and 13. Supervisor Zerflu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for a explanation, page 12, paragraph 3, it states on the sale of 2 CBRFs in Marshfield. I'm just curious how much that was for and what account in the budget it was placed in. Thank you.
The total was $520,000. Did I have that right? Somebody back there, $520,000, and then that went to the general fund, correct? Yeah, $260,000 apiece, same for both of them. Any other questions on the Executive Committee minutes from the 2nd? All right, comments from the County Clerk on 14. Maintenance, monthly letter of comments on 15. Information Technology on 16, 17, and 18. Treasurer's Report on 19. Finance Directors on 20, 21. Detailed income statements beginning on page 22 and running through page 28. Beginning on page 29 through 31, you have the general ledger, the trial balance versus the actual 29 through 31. The monthly update from Human Resources on pages 32, 3, 4, and 5, 32 through 35. Okay, see no questions on any of those. It brings us to the first resolution in the packet today, and I would ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
This will be Resolution 18-1-1, to amend the 2017 budget for County Board for the purpose of funding higher than anticipated expenditures. This will note to transfer $20,000 from available balance in contingency to County Board. At the time of this request, the funds available in contingency are $311,217. The adjustment to the budget is $20,000.
You heard the reading of the resolution. I have a motion by LaFontaine, a second by Hamilton. Discussion on the resolution. Supervisor Zerflu.
This is number 2 of 2, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I just have a question or a comment to make. $20,000 doesn't seem like a whole lot when you're dealing with a $109 million budget. But I just wanted to say that it seems we have a lot of meetings. Most of them might be, all of them, I hope, are legit. But instead of having 5 one-hour meetings, I think it behooves us to maybe try to look at a 1 5-hour meeting. The difference right there is like $200 per supervisor. So just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supervisor Bryan? Yeah.
Okay, you're back. Any further discussion on the resolution? Any further discussion? Ready? I'd ask you to please vote. That resolution passed 19-0. Thank you. We have the next 2 resolutions in the packet, both dealing with the acceptance of, to accept the transfer of tax deeded properties. Does anybody have an objection to taking these 2 resolutions together? Is there any objection to that? All right, I'd ask the clerk to please read both of
Item 1-2 will become Resolution 18-1-2. To accept the transfer of tax deeded property to an adjacent owner. Fiscal note, $1. Resolution on page 38, Resolution 18-1-3. To accept the transfer of tax deeded property to the school district of Nakusa. Fiscal note, $5.
Again, you've heard the reading of the resolution. I have a motion by Clendenning, a second by Fire. Any discussion on either of these? Any discussion? I'd ask you to please vote. Resolutions, both of those passed unanimously again, 19-0. Next resolution in the packet, which would be 18-1-4, correct? Is the one that deals with the communication towers at UW Marshfield Wood County.
This will be Resolution 18-1-4.
I'm catching on.
To join with the City of Marshfield in approving contracts authorizing the placement of a communications tower on the UW Marshfield Wood County campus by a private entity with the revenues generated going to the UW Marshfield Wood County Commission. Fiscal note, the City of Marshfield and Wood County jointly own the UW Marshfield Wood County campus in Marshfield and fund the maintenance of the property via a commission. The revenues generated through the communications tower would go to the commission and thereby reduce the dependency of the commission on funding by the county and the city.
Motion by Roser, second by Zerflu. Discussion on the resolution. Supervisor Roser.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't sure that we needed a motion on the table before I make a motion, but I would like to make a motion now to refer this resolution back to committee, and I will explain why after I get a second for this.
We have a motion to refer to committee. I have a second by Hinkle. Supervisor Clendenning, I have a discussion on this before that goes that route. Supervisor Clendenning.
I'm surprised. I thought this motion was tabled at the last county board meeting, and it was not brought by the table. It was brought by a new resolution, and then that resolution is going to be amended and sent back to committee. Well, why are we doing this? I mean, why wasn't this just brought from the floor to the floor and being on table and discussed that way? I was confused, as I always am, people will say. I was confused at the fact that the executive committee even had this before them to have a resolution when there was one pending anyways.
Well, we're on discussion on the motion to refer. So, Don, at this point, if you want to explain that, part of this is obviously we have two distinct entities with the county and the city and trying to make all this work together.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'd like to explain why I made the motion to refer the resolution back to committee. We have been working since the last county board meeting with Bagley Consulting, who has to get permission from Parallel to, which is the negotiating company, to address the concerns that the city of Marshfield had about the lease. We are still waiting for them to respond to the concerns that the city had. So we really have nothing different to bring you today because that language has not been put on paper at this point in time because we've not heard from the consulting company who's working with the other company to make sure that the language that the city is concerned about can be incorporated into that lease. So Mr. Supervisor Clendenning is absolutely correct. There may need to be some modification of the resolution depending on those final terms in the agreement. And so we really have nothing to vote on today because we don't know what that final language is going to be because of the terms of the agreement. And so if it goes back to committee, then we have a chance to negotiate with the city and the county to get the agreement satisfactory in language to both of those municipalities, and then we can bring that back to this county board. Make sense?
So with that, on the floor, we have a motion to refer back Should I try to my voice cool? Supervisor, yeah, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries unanimously. Are you good there? Do you need that on board?
Well, it wasn't unanimous, there was a negative.
There was one
Yes.
opposed, there's one opposed. Supervisor Clendenning, is that correct?
Yes.
So we can record as such. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Health and Human Services Committee, they're meeting December 21st on pages 40 and 41. The update from the Health Department, 42 through 45. Give you just a moment to review those number of pages, 42 through 45. Our Veteran Service Officers Report on 46 and 47. The report from our Human Services Department, beginning with Director of Rulings on page 48 and continuing through page 53, 48 through 53. Supervisor Lynch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see on page 51 we hired a psychiatrist. Can somebody give me the number that cost? I've heard rumors and I couldn't believe it.
It's probably not rumors, and it's probably true. Brandon, you got the exact numbers back there? Or Jordan, or somebody?
Yeah, I suspect the rumors may be close to the truth. The starting wage for that psychiatrist is $325,000.
Is there a follow-up question?
That's cheap.
If that's true, then we should be his first clients. Thank you.
Okay, you probably got room for that. A lot of people out there are agree with you.
Yeah.
Before that goes any farther, I think there's a cost to medical professionals, I will say that, that is well within the market of what those particular professional people are coming out of school at. So that was 48 to 53. Page 54 begins the Conservation, Education, Economic Development Committee meeting on Wednesday, January 3rd. Begins on 54, 5, 6, and 7. Minutes beginning with the Golden Sands Resource Conservation Development Council's Personnel and Finance Committee meeting. There are various meetings beginning on November 16th, but they begin with those. They run on pages 58 through 67. Supervisor Clinton.
Yeah, I just want to apologize for these minutes being in here this late. This is a November meeting. This is January. I have asked many a times that now we have one this coming Thursday, another Golden Sands. There's no reason why they can't be in the February one. I don't know why this is happening. I asked for it twice, and it did happen that way, but I'm going to ask for it again. This shouldn't be cluttered here that many months later.
Thank you, Supervisor Clinton. If you need any backup on that, just holler. I will certainly ask that they do the same thing. Land and Water Conservation Department, their update, pages 68 through 72. 68 through 72. Any questions there? UW Extension, monthly report begins on 73, 4, 5, and 6. Pages 73 through 76. The Junior Fair account details on 77. The update from Planning and Zoning, beginning with Jason Greenberg's on page 78 and running through page 82. 78 through 82. Minutes of the Judicial and Legislative Committee of January 5th, beginning on 83, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 82 through 87. Any questions there? Wood County Criminal Justice Task Force minutes of December 6th on 88 and 89. Child Support Agency on 90. Court of Counsel's monthly letter on 91, 92, and 93. And then we have a whole bunch of pages, which are notice of injury and claim or other proceedings that are happening from a litigation standpoint here. I don't know that they're all in here, but I'll touch on this real briefly. We had a couple of very large claims that the county was facing here from a liability standpoint. One of those involved our sheriff's department, which we won with the help, obviously, of County Mutual, the Aegis Corporation, but we prevailed on all counts. And that one, which we've been dealing with for probably close to 5 years. And then we had another one that dealt with the highway issue. Very simplified version, a bump in the road where somebody was injured. Last night, they decided to dismiss that case at 5 o'clock. So that one was also dismissed. So everything's looking pretty good there. But a lot of pages of these. It begins at 94, runs all the way through page 133. 94 through 133. So going to page 134 in your packet, Corporate Counsel Castenholz again. 134, 5, and 6. Page 137 in your packet is a resolution brought forth by the judicial and legislative.
This will be Resolution 18-1-5, to go on record in support of LRB 3991, which establishes a program within the DNR to provide grants to counties, cities, villages, and towns for the testing of privately owned wells and make changes to the well compensation grant program currently administered by the DNR. Fiscal note, no direct economic impact to the county itself, but funds would be available to assist residents in monitoring and addressing private well contamination situations.
A motion by Clendenning, a second by Hamilton. Discussion on the resolution. Any discussion? Supervisor Ashback?
Well, I'll support the resolution because we have to find out where the contaminated areas are. But at the same time, when I went to agriculture school at Orlandale, the teacher put up a picture on the wall of a green field with a brown strip in there, which was a gully or a washout. And how are you going to prevent that from forming or developing? You have to start on the top. You have to do something to divert that water on the top. So while this is happening, we can't forget we have to clean the water we put into this ground. The less we have to worry about these wells, so we have to concentrate heavy on top of the ground. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Wagner?
Yeah, I voted against this in committee only for one reason, and that was that the drafting of the bill was such that it says in one part of it that they're setting aside $100,000 for well testing, and then in the next part of it that said they're appropriating another $800,000 for making a total of $900,000. And I don't think that was corrected in the last bill or in the last version of the bill. The other thing that I had suggested to the drafter of the bill, to the assembly person, was that, well, I asked how much money was set in a separate remediation fund, and she couldn't tell me how much was in that fund, and I asked if it wouldn't be more efficient just to allow the remediation funds to be used for the testing itself, just to change the one thing. So for that reason, I'm not real pleased with the way the bill is. I like the idea of what they're doing, but I'm not quite sure if it's $100,000 or $900,000 that they're appropriating, or if it's $100,000 for testing and $800,000 for remediation. I have no idea. So I'm going to vote against it for that reason.
Supervisor Roser?
I don't believe it said, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't think it said in the resolution, but does the bill say who will administer these grants? Will they be applied for by public health departments or land and water conservation? Any discussion in the bill about administration of the grants?
Supervisor Lighton?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some other literature from this, and by the way, it's Assembly Bill 686. It'd be administered by the DNR. And I think the thing that's significant here is there's a group of landowners out there who are not represented at all without this legislation, and that would be the people like myself who have chosen to live in a rural setting but don't own livestock. And those people never had representation, and that's what Katrina's trying to get at here. By my figures, that's at least 200,000 people. And by the way, she said that in the future, whether it's $100,000 or $900,000, this is a getting your foot in the door type of piece of legislation. Those numbers would probably be increased.
Further discussion? Further discussion? I'd ask you to please vote. That resolution passed 18-1. Takes me to page 138 and the minutes of the Highway Infrastructure and Recreation Committee. Supervisor Lynch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On item 2, I brought forward issue about the railroad. I'd like to correct that in the minutes there. It's not 15 minutes, it's 50, 5-0. And it's gotten to be a concern, and we're hoping that, I'm hoping that we can work with the city and correct this matter. Thank you.
Appreciate that. We'll make sure the committee addresses that. As we get into the Highway Infrastructure Recreation Committee, it could also be the Public Safety Committee, and it could also have several other committees, I guess, that act on this. Supervisor Lightnum, I know the Counties Association because I'm down there all the time. In fact, I just got back from D.C. This weekend. Have been working on the horse-drawn vehicle language, and Supervisor Lightning called me last night. I wasn't aware of the fact that this is actually, it's on the assembly floor today. I think you said, Bill, could you address that for just a moment? You had the numbers, times, and the information.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I think you know more than I know because you mentioned the representative, was it Brooks, who brought it before. The vote is at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And I found it on Capitol Watch. I showed a couple of the people in attendance today, but maybe you should address it.
Well, I don't know that I have a lot to, I don't have a lot of background knowledge on this. I know that originally our assembly representatives, both Culp and Spiros, spearheaded this. It was not getting a lot of traction. I had a conversation back several months ago with Rob Brooks, who said he also sees this as important legislation. And if there wasn't a driving force from our area that was willing to take this on, he might be. He's certainly considered a leader within the legislature. I did not know that this was coming to the floor at this time. I know the WCA supports that. I know that Wood County has been at the forefront of that in those discussions in Madison. I guess I was pleasantly surprised to see that through those efforts it's actually on the floor today. But Supervisor Lighton made me aware of that.
Okay, so I brought Capitol Watch back up. It says Assembly Bill 475, lighting requirements for animal-driven vehicles operated on highways. And as you said, the WCA supports it. I think the other thing I found out is it's one strobe light, yellow strobe, amber strobe on the top, and 2 red on the back. And that's the extent of that legislation having to do with lighting that we do.
As introduced. So making some headway, so appreciate the efforts of those here. We could have had it a little, maybe now, we got the state on board, maybe statewide legislation. As an aside to this, while I was in D.C. this week, we had some conversation on this. I was speaking with, the gentleman's name is Bill Peterson, he's the executive director of the Iowa Association, and they could not believe that we did not have a statewide comprehensive horse-drawn vehicle lighting requirement in our state. So they do too. Anyway, I just wanted to kick that off to say that part of the efforts here translated to some traction down there, so thank you. Again, page 138, beginning there through 142, minutes of the Highway Infrastructure Recreation Committee. Any other comments there? Okay, beginning on page 143, update from the Parks Department, beginning with Dennis Purnell's. That's 143 through 147. Any questions there? That brings me to page 148 in your packet and the resolution from the HERC Committee.
This will be Resolution 18-1-6, to approval of the 2018 Wood County Forest Annual Work Plan. This will note potential loss of state aid revenues in the amount of $45,718.40.
Okay, I have a motion by Zerflu. I have a second by Lightman. The plan takes the next several pages. If you have the opportunity to read those pages, 149 through 162. So this is for approval of the Wood County Forest Annual. Supervisor Clendon.
Yes, I just, you probably all read where the state tax is no longer the 2%, what I used to call the reforestation tax. Now that's been eliminated. And this was to reforest the forest. And I think it was brought up in 1952, and ever since that, being an assessor at one time, you know, this was important to keep us from looking like other states that's nothing but no trees at all. So that's why there's this reduction. And they did have the conversation at the highway department about, yes, this is a result of that tax is no longer on your tax bill. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other further discussion on the resolution? Further discussion? All in favor? Oh, not all in favor, please. Treasurer didn't kill me from that last voice vote. Please go to the board and vote. Again, that resolution passed unanimously 19-0. This takes us to page 163. 163 in the packet. Second resolution coming forth from the HERC Committee.
This will be Resolution 18-1-7, to amend the 2017 budget for snowmobile maintenance for additional expenditures that were not anticipated during the original budget process. Fiscal note, no cost to Wood County. The source of the funding is unanticipated revenues from state aid monies. The adjustment to the budget totals $23,241.76.
Motion by Hamilton, and a second by Zerflu. Discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, please vote. Once again, that resolution passed unanimously. Give them a chance to catch up here. It takes us to the third resolution from the HERC Committee on page 164.
This will be Resolution 18-1-8, to encourage the State of Wisconsin Department of Transportation to accept a jurisdictional transfer of County Highway 80 to the state and a jurisdictional transfer of part of State Highway 80 to the county. Fiscal note, unknown.
Okay, we've heard the reading of the resolution. I have a motion by Bryan, a second by LaFontaine. Any discussion on the resolution? Any discussion? Supervisor Zerflu.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's not a discussion topic. I just wanted to point out that Mr. Pazano, our highway commissioner, has done a lot of good work on this and stayed in touch with some people down in the state, and I think eventually this will get done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please vote. Again, 19-0, passed unanimously. Page 165 in your packet begins the minutes of the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Central Wisconsin. Supervisor Mahan, Doug, if I can call you, we're going to have a change of leadership there at the ADRC. It's been an extremely successful venture between a number of counties. Can you give us a quick update on where you're at with that? Doug chairs that agency.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity. We closed the application process for that position. The executive director closed last night at midnight. Last I talked to Frank Mattel, who is the HR director at Marathon as well, who is helping us proceed with that search, with the logistics. We had 28 applications as of, I believe, last Thursday. We were looking to probably pick up a few more, end up around 35 to 40. We're getting some outstanding candidates from around the state. In fact, I think you mentioned we even have a former aging director from Milwaukee County that has applied for the job. So that we're getting a good, we cast a good net, and we're seeing the results of that. This Friday, we will begin the process of vetting those applicants to see who we will interview. The interviews will take place the following week, and then from there we will continue up with our final interview process, getting it down to probably maybe 2 or 3 candidates, doing some evaluations and some background checks, some in-depth stuff. We look forward to making an offer to the candidates sometime around the first week of February.
One more quick update, because this started as a three-county consortium. Some people in this room are not aware of how many counties you have. Can you just touch on that real quick?
Sure. We have 4 counties, and Wood, Marathon, Lincoln, and Langley. And so it's a very unique situation for ADRC, as Hildy and Mike can affirm. We are looked at by the state as a leader in the ADRC area. In fact, we are probably, and I'm proud to say, we are probably in a position to drive state policy on ADRCs. They come to us for a lot of things. We're very proud of that. We have a great board of directors, very intelligent people, very insightful people, and it's a pleasure to work up there. It's probably the plum of my county experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of concern when we entered into this that direction would come from a particular county or not. I think we've had 4 chairs of that particular endeavor, and I think 3 of them have been from this county. That has continued the leadership. Appreciate it. And this has been one of those true success stories in a consortium as they've been put together. As Doug alluded to, we have the model that the state has followed. So if you have any questions on the ADRC, Supervisor Mahan, Supervisor Fire, and probably he'll be still answer a whole bunch of them too, although I've been gone a long time. Central Wisconsin State Fair, 169. Any questions there? Their executive committee minutes. Their board of director minutes on page 170 from November 27th. That's 170 and 171. Minutes of the McMillan Memorial Library Board of Trustees from November 15th on 172 and 173. South Central Library System Board of Trustees minutes from November 30th on 174 and 175. And Supervisor Ashbeck, I see you have something. If I don't pass it, I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We get back to the Central Wisconsin Fair. We voted in favor last night of this, working with the city, that the city gives the control of the fairground. So that went unanimously through our committee last night. So we hope to have this thing going by the middle of next week with the city. So I think it's going to be a big improvement to the fair.
Thank you, Supervisor Ashbeck. Supervisor Clendenny.
On the south, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the South Central Library System, that was, I believe they canceled that meeting. Will they have another meeting or just wait till the next time?
I'm not sure.
I don't.
I misunderstand the question.
That South Central Library meeting was canceled. It was supposed to be held in Nakusa during the snowstorm.
Oh, that's County Library Board.
Oh, the County Library Board. I was wondering if that was going to be rescheduled.
Okay, we'll clarify here real quick.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, when we got the email from the Chairman Cherney, he did not indicate that they were rescheduling. And usually he sends an email about a week ahead of time.
Okay, I'll go to Supervisor Zerflu, then Hamilton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is rescheduled for 7 p.m. at the Nakusa Library for the Wood County Library Board.
What day? What day?
What did I say? September day? Yeah. Excuse me. I'm not used to short meetings. 7 p.m. Thursday, January 25th.
Okay, does everybody who needs to know that date have that down now?
Call on Brad from now on, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, got it. All right. The County of Wood Library Board minutes of October 12th on 176. Did you have something you wanted to add to that? No. Okay. On 176. And then that brings us to a resolution, I guess, probably the only one I was looking for every year.
This will be Resolution 18-1-9 to approve the Wood County Fire Warden list. No fiscal impact.
Motion by Hamilton, second by Hinkle. Any discussion? Move this by voice vote. Everyone on board. Please vote. I confuse the heck out of them when I do it by voice vote. All right, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye. Why do we get the thing out?
This is what happens when Cindy goes to Florida.
You're going to have to vote on the board.
All right, vote.
I got to get...
Please vote on the board. He's a deputy clerk. We're testing him. Cindy kicks me under the desk. He has not. All right, that passed unanimously. Thank you. We have two. today, and they both relate to the life and public service of two county board members that many of you have had the opportunity to serve with. Trent, do you want to touch on those?
First resolution on page 178 will be Resolution 18-1-10 relating to the life and public service of Jack Kaiser. The next one on page 179 will become Resolution 18-1-11 relating to the life and public service of Frank Veitshegger.
Okay, and I have a motion by Hamilton, and I have a second by Bryan, in relation to the life and public service of both Jack Kaiser and Frank Veitshegger. Many of you have served with both of those people over the years. I will do this by voice. All in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
And I'd like to note that that was unanimous, and then I'd ask that this body please rise in moment of silence with respect for the passing of those two former county board members. And I thank you. And our sympathies certainly go out to the families of both Jack Kaiser and I'm at the end of the packet. Supervisor Rosado.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to say, if you haven't read in the paper, that the CDC has announced that we have a flu epidemic in this country. Wisconsin hasn't been hit quite as bad as some of the other states, but I've worked on the unit and taken care of lots of influenza A patients here in the last couple weeks, and so I want to encourage you, it's not too late to get your influenza vaccine if you haven't gotten it. It takes about 2 weeks to become effective, but it's not too late to take it. Very basic things you can do to keep from getting the flu. Wash your hands. If you're sick, please stay home because the influenza virus is very contagious, and I just want to have everybody stay healthy, and maybe it's even waning a little bit, but usually it bumps up after Christmas, and we saw a lot of cases in December. So I just want to encourage everybody to stay healthy and to take care of themselves, drink lots of fluids, and stay well hydrated. That seems to keep the bugs away. Thank you.
And then our county clerk. Deputy clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing that we're noticing in our office is when you guys are downloading from the iPad, especially on per diem and vouchers and your packets, you're saving it back to Dropbox because you're not hitting the 3 dots up in the corner and downloading it to your iPad. So then when you write things that maybe you don't want other people to know about or to have public, you're saving that back into the Dropbox for the whole world to see. So I encourage you, if you have questions about how that process works, it's monthly. It's that first week of the month, it's hourly that we're trying to put clean ones back in, and then same with the pay week. Every pay week, it's nonstop. So please remember to download those first. And then Lisa has things she would like to bring up with you as well related to the iPads.
We're working on a correction to that though too, aren't we? Where you're not going to have to go through that process.
Yeah, the election's coming up in April.
Okay.
We're working on a new system to help correct that issue. I did follow up with our network team yesterday, and it is in the works to get that updated. It'll help keep things more secure and hopefully stop the issue of things being uploaded, which is wonderful. When you open your document, look in the upper left-hand corner. If it doesn't say downloads in the upper left-hand corner, you didn't do it right. So then go back and re-download it from there. That'll kind of help be a little visual as far as that goes. The other thing I want to bring up is our cybersecurity training. A few of you did get certificates today for completing your training, and we want to thank you. That is something that everyone in the county needs to complete, and it's something that helps everyone in the county as well. We are big proponents of making sure that our data stays safe. We have a lot of HIPAA data. We have data for the Sheriff's Department and that sort of stuff as well, and we want to make sure that stays safe. The program that we're using, once everyone completes the training and passes, offers us insurance for specific attacks, especially especially those that require you to pay money to get your computer back. And we know that people have been hit with that virus. Luckily, I don't believe we've had any on site, but we do know people have been hit with that virus, and it's very dangerous, and it costs people a lot of money in the long run. So the training is required. We are happy to help you down in the IT department. You can stop down, we can go sit in the conference room and you can complete the training, or we can help you just get signed up and you can complete it at home. You can stop and start the training as you go. But we are very happy to help you complete that if you have any questions or concerns on how that goes. Amy, is there a deadline?
Tomorrow.
She said tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's actually for the entire county for us to be eligible for this guarantee. We need to have every employee that has a county email address complete the training by the end of February. But we're hoping not to push that deadline. So we're hoping that we're able to get compliance before we reach that deadline, just because it will disqualify us for this insurance.
So feel free to step down. The biggest question I think that we've had is people asking for their passwords. You create your own password to the program. So when you go in and register, it will have you set up a password. That could be whatever you choose. If you can't remember what that password is and you've already signed up, there is a forgot password link. You can click on that. It'll send you an email and have you recreate a password. Any questions? Concerns?
You can go have an individual session if you'd like. What's interesting, literally the fact earlier I was in DC last week, and basically what we dealt with the entire week was cybersecurity and the threats of the nation. And we met with both Senate and House chairmen of those the committees that deal with such. We met with the head of the NSA, and it's pretty interesting when you look at a computer screen about the size of the back of that room, and you can watch the cyber threats coming in from all over the world as they identify. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands a day, and if you don't think it's serious, I think it was Gatlinburg County, I think I have the county right, that was held hostage, basically, a ransomware type deal, just paid $300,000 to, in effect, get their data back. So it's extremely important that you do the training, that you look at it. We will not be 100% free of any possible threat, but it will certainly help with that effort. So I encourage you to do that. Spent 4 days on that, so work on it. Anyway, anything else that needs to come for the board today? All right, seeing none, motion to adjourn. Hamilton, second by Kramer.